The morning after her birthday, something broke between us. Not loudly, not with shouting, but with one sentence that changed everything. She sat at the kitchen table, scrolling on her phone, barely looking at me. I was making breakfast, like I had done every morning for 9 years. The same routine, the same care, the same quiet. I asked her if she wanted pancakes or eggs. She looked up at me finally. Her eyes were cold, older than 13 should ever look. You are not my real mom. Stop pretending you are. The words hit harder than any scream could have. I felt them in my chest, in my throat, in places I did not even know could hurt. Her father was there, standing by the counter, looking at his phone. He did not even look up, just muttered something about teenage moods, grabbed his keys, and walked out the door. I stood there holding the spatula, the pan still hot, the smell of breakfast filling the kitchen. And suddenly, none of it made sense anymore. I had been in her life since she was 4. 4 years old. Small hands, missing teeth, nightmares that sent her running into my arms. 9 years. 9 years of lunches, packed exactly the way she liked. Sandwich cut diagonally. No crust. Fruit always washed and dried. A note tucked inside, even when I was running late. 9 years of school drop-offs. Pickups. Practices. Projects. Late nights. Fevers. Vomiting. Tears. Celebrations. Disappointments. 9 years of being there. When the woman who gave birth to her disappeared without a trace. No calls. No cards. No birthdays. No holidays. Nothing. And now this. You are not my real mom. I did not yell. I did not cry. Not then. I just felt something inside me go quiet, like a door slowly closing. If I was not her mom, then I would stop acting like one. That afternoon, I picked her up from school. Just like always. She got into the car and immediately started complaining. About a school dance. About needing new clothes. About how unfair everything was. I listened. I nodded. I said nothing. At home, she dropped her bag, walked into the kitchen, and asked what was for dinner. I am cooking for your father and myself. I said calmly. You will need to figure something out. She laughed. A short, careless laugh, thinking I was joking. I was not. That evening, she realized I was serious. When dinner was ready, when the plates were set, when the smell filled the house, and there was nothing for her. She stood at the doorway watching, confused, waiting, then asked where her food was. I looked at her and said softly, You said I am not your mom. Moms make dinner for their kids. I am just your father's wife. There is food in the fridge. Her smile faded. She looked at her father, waiting for him to fix it. He hesitated, then started to say something. I stopped him. She made her choice. I am respecting it. That night she ate cereal, standing at the counter, angry, embarrassed, silent. The next morning I woke up early, made coffee, sat at the table, and did nothing. I did not knock on her door, did not remind her of the time, did not call her name down the hallway. She missed her first class, came downstairs panicking, asking why I did not wake her. I looked at her calmly. Moms wake their kids. From that day on, I stopped. I stopped doing her laundry. Her clothes piled up, dirty, wrinkled, ignored. Her favorite jeans stayed in the basket, waiting. 2 weeks passed. When she asked about them, I reminded her. Moms do laundry. The dance came. She had nothing new to wear. No ride. No help. Her father was away. I was out. She stayed home. Alone. Her grades started slipping. Assignments missed. Deadlines forgotten. She had always relied on me. To print. To organize. To remind. This time I stayed quiet. She failed a project. For the first time ever. The school called. Concerned. I told them to contact her father. I am just a step-parent. Emails came. I forwarded them. Without comment. By the third week, she looked different. Dark circles. Messy hair. Wrinkled clothes. She was eating toast. Cereal. Leftovers. Her father was drowning. Trying to do everything. Working long hours. Missing things. Forgetting things. He begged me to stop. Said this was cruel. Said she was just a child. I told him calmly. She is old enough to understand that words matter. 9 years. I said. 9 years, I have been her mother in every way that counted. And she erased it with one sentence. Then came the night that almost broke me. She woke up in pain. Crying. Shaking. Knocking on our door. Her father slept through it. She stood there looking at me. Terrified. Asking to go to the hospital. Every instinct in me screamed to move. To help. To protect. I stayed still. I told her quietly. Your mom would take you. But I am not your mom. You should call your father. I closed my eyes. I heard her walk away. Crying. I lay there listening. Heart racing. Body shaking. 15 minutes felt like hours. Finally, her father woke. Rushed her to the hospital. Food poisoning. He called me furious. Accusing. I answered calmly. She is not my daughter. She told me so. The house felt empty after. I made coffee. 1 cup. Breakfast. 1 plate. For 9 years, my mornings revolved around her. Now there was silence. When they came home, she avoided me. Pale. Weak. Her father confronted me. Said I was punishing a child. I told him I was respecting boundaries. If we divorced tomorrow, I would have no rights. No claim. No protection. All responsibility. No recognition. So no. She does not get both. Everything collapsed after that. Her grades dropped everywhere. She missed school. No one woke her. Her father tried. But he did not know how. Lunch forgotten. Permission slips missed. Supplies bought too late. The house became chaos. Mess everywhere. Friends stopped coming. Then came the day at school. During her cycle. Normally, I was prepared. Always. This time, I told her to call her father. He could not leave work. She was humiliated. I heard her crying later, saying she wanted her mom, then correcting herself. She wanted me. Laundry disasters. Ruined clothes. Tears. I knew how to fix it. I stayed silent. Her father finally admitted. He had no idea how much I carried. He thought it was easy. I told him it was sacrifice. Eventually she broke. She came to me, crying, apologizing. She said she was angry. Angry that the woman who left was called her real mom. Angry that biology mattered more than effort. She said she could not live like this. That everything fell apart. I told her being a mother is a choice. One I made every day. And when she said I was not her mom, she erased 9 years of choosing her. She begged me not to leave. Begged me not to give up. I told her I would try. But things would change. She would learn. She would help. She would appreciate. We cleaned together. Cooked together. Learned together. Her father apologized. Truly. That night she hugged me, called me mom. Months later, I found a note. Thank you for choosing me. That was when I knew. She finally understood what those words really meant. The days after that conversation were strain. Quiet but heavy, like walking through a house where every sound echoes too loudly. She tried. I could it. In the way she watched me. In the way she hesitated before speaking. Like she was afraid every word might push me away again. The first morning after we talked, she woke up before her alarm. I heard her moving around, opening drawers, closing them again. She came into the kitchen slowly, asked if she could help. Not demanded, not assumed. Asked. I handed her a cutting board, showed her how to hold the knife, how to keep her fingers curled. She nodded seriously, like this mattered. And it did. She burned the toast. We laughed awkwardly, then real laughter, the kind that breaks tension. But even while laughing, I felt guarded, like my heart had stepped back, watching carefully. Trust does not come back instantly, not after being shattered. She started saying thank you, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, consistently. Thank you for breakfast. Thank you for helping me study. Thank you for driving me. Thank you for waiting. Every thank you felt like a stitch, slowly repairing something torn. Her father changed too. He noticed things, spoke up, corrected her tone when it slipped, thanked me openly. Not performative, not forced, but aware. I could see guilt in him, real guilt, for years of blindness. He started asking, how do you do this? How do you remember everything? I told him, you remember what you choose to care about. She struggled at school. Catching up was hard. Late nights, tears over homework. This time when she asked for help, she asked softly, with respect, and I helped, because that is what mothers do, when they are seen. One night she asked, do you still choose me? The question broke something open. I looked at her and said, every day. But choosing someone does not mean letting them hurt you without consequence. She nodded, understanding more than before. She started doing her own laundry. The first few loads were disasters. Shrunken shirts, faded colors. I let it happen, then taught her. Not rescuing, teaching. She learned to clean, to plan, to prepare. She learned effort. And I learned something too. That love does not have to erase boundaries. That care does not mean self-erasure. Weeks passed, then months. The house felt different. Not perfect, but honest. One evening, she cooked dinner alone. Not fancy, but thoughtful. She waited for me to sit, then said, I made this for you. Not assumed. Offered. I ate slowly, savoring more than the food. Later that night, I found another note. Short, simple. Thank you for staying. Thank you for choosing me again. I cried quietly. Not from pain, but release. Because love that is finally acknowledged feels different. Lighter. Stronger. She still slipped sometimes. Teenagers do. But now when she did, she caught herself. Corrected. Apologized. Growth is not perfection. It is awareness. One afternoon she came home upset. Said a friend told her, you are lucky your stepmom cares so much. Mine would never. She looked at me and said, I am lucky. And meant it. That was the moment I knew. The lesson had settled deep. Not fear. Not punishment. Understanding. She no longer confused biology with love. She knew now. Love is showing up. Love is staying. Love is choosing. Every single day. And so do I. The weeks after that felt like learning how to breathe again. Slow. Careful. Intentional. Nothing was automatic anymore. And that was not a bad thing. She no longer assumed. She asked. She waited. She watched. Before speaking. Before reacting. Before letting frustration turn into cruelty. I watched her grow in small, quiet ways. The kind that do not announce themselves. But stay. One morning, she forgot to say thank you. She caught herself halfway down the hall. Turned back. And said it. Not because she was told. But because she remembered. That mattered more than perfection. Her father started changing too. He began setting alarms. Writing notes. Learning routines. He failed often. But he tried. And for the first time, I did not quietly fix everything behind him. I let him see the consequences. Because partnership requires awareness. One evening, she came to me holding an old photo. Her younger self. Gap-toothed smile. Messy hair. Arms wrapped around my neck. Do you remember this? She asked. I did. I remembered the day. The park. The heat. The ice cream melting too fast. She said, I was scared you would disappear like her. And I understood something then. Her words that morning. You are not my real mom. They were not rejection. They were fear. Fear spoken like anger. Because fear is harder to admit. She had pushed first, so she would not be abandoned again. I told her, I am still here. And this time, she believed me. There were setbacks. Of course there were. One day she snapped at me. A sharp tone. Old habits. I stepped back. Did not engage. Did not absorb it. Later she came. Apologized. I forgot. She said. I forgot for a second. And that was enough. Another day she failed a test. Cried. Wanted to give up. I sat beside her. Quizzed her. Like always. But this time, she said thank you after every question. Not because she was told, but because she saw the effort. One night during dinner, her father said, You know, I used to think love was loud. Big gestures. Big moments. Now I know it is repetition. Showing up. Again. And again. And again. She looked at me. Eyes soft. And nodded. That was when I knew. We were no longer repairing. We were building. Months later, at a school event, a teacher asked, Are you her mom? She looked at me first. Waiting. I smiled. Said, I am the one who raises her. She said, She is my mom. No hesitation. No correction. Just certainty. I felt something settle inside me. Something that had been waiting a long time. She still tests sometimes. Quietly. Carefully. But now she knows. Love is not guaranteed. It is chosen. And so am I. Every day. I wake up. And choose her. And she knows now. What that really means. Years passed quietly. Not dramatically. Not loudly. But steadily. She grew. Not just older. But stronger. More aware. More grounded. She learned responsibility. Independence. And gratitude. She learned that love is not something you demand, but something you protect. School became easier again. Her grades recovered. Then improved. She graduated. Confident. Focused. Sure of herself. On graduation day, she searched the crowd. found me, smiled. Not the smile of a child who needs, but the smile of someone who knows. They are supported. Later that evening, she hugged me tightly and said, "I could not have done any of this without you." And this time, there was no fear behind the words, just truth. Her father changed too. He became present, involved, aware. The house found balance, not perfection, but harmony. And me. I found peace. Not because I was finally called mom, but because I was finally seen. Seen for the years, the sacrifices, the quiet work, the invisible labor, the love that stayed. I learned something too. That setting boundaries is not cruelty. That love does not disappear when you demand respect. It grows. Stronger. Healthier. Real. One evening years later, we sat together, drinking tea, talking about nothing important. She laughed and said, "You know, people always say real moms are the ones who give birth." She looked at me and smiled. "But I know better. Real moms are the ones who stay." And in that moment, I knew everything had been worth it. Every hard choice, every painful silence, every boundary held. Because in the end, we did not just survive. We became better. Together.